you believe we were in Antarctica for a whole year? And yet somehow I still barely left Penguinopolis. Really should have gotten to Tuxedo City or Claremont.
Did we even accomplish anything, General?
Well, I did some pretty neat review videos.
Swell. Maybe someday someone will watch them.
Hush, bruh! I thought the Castle Cagliostro review was righteous!
Why, thank you, long-haired dude. I think it's about time you were promoted. Been waiting for that promotion all year, but okay. Huh?
Radical!
Indeed. Anyway, Penguinopolis being in the homeland provided an adequate diversion while we finished the Merc II project. Speaking of which, I have to head there for something before we even get to OR. But first, I have a review to do.
That's alright, sir. We'll be fine here without you. You can count on us.
Ugh. Stop brown-nosing so much, glasses guy. To the review cave! Hiya! Penguin Truth here, and it's time for the last show of the year. Naturally, this means reviewing the English dubs of the anime I've covered since the mid-season video. There's a pretty good variety of dubs and dub studios for this, and hopefully I'll have enough to say about them. As I mentioned, I generally watch anime in Japanese with English subtitles, but there are plenty of dubs I enjoy, and I'm usually willing to give a dub a shot. Obviously, since I use dub clips for these reviews, I've watched all of these dubbed, and fortunately, there weren't any that were too difficult to stomach this time around. Though, to be honest, none of these were favorites either. For my 100th episode of this show, I covered Castle Cagliostro, a movie near and dear to my heart. Now, the Lupin franchise has had a myriad of different English language versions over the years, and even this movie has a couple. For the sake of modernity, I used clips with the newer of the dubs, the one done by Animes in 2000. But before that one, Carl Masek's Streamlined Pictures did a dub back in the 90s, which, to be fair, while taking liberties, was mostly decent, and even starred Porky Pig himself, Bob Bergen.
I've never seen so much money in all my life. We're both billionaires!
Watch it! I can't see to drive!
We're not just living on Easy Street. Hell, we can buy it!
Animes' dub, on the other hand, done for Manga Entertainment, starred Solid Snake / Bernie Wiseman, David Hayter, and also involved anime regulars Kirk Thornton, Milton James, Dorothy alias Fawn, and John Snyder, all of them under non-union names. It's hard to get a good grasp of the chemistry between our leads since they spend so much time solo, but Hayter fits the Lupin from this feature at least, and I do like an older sounding Jigen.
Billions of bucks with unmarked cereals. We're rich bastards.
Hey, don't drown me in it. I've got a lot of spending to do before I die.
If you don't kill us with your driving first.
But I'm more of a Fooscast guy myself. Speaking of which, covering another Christmas episode of Lupin III Part 2 means getting to hear my favorite English dub cast for these main characters. Like both the streamlined and anime's dubs of Cagliostro, they take some liberties, some being more irritating than others, but there's so much great characterization in the performances and a kind of rare chemistry, so my feelings about the Foos dub are mixed.
I can't exactly say this is how I envision spending my Christmas Eve this year.
It does seem a bit sacrilegious, Lupin.
I know. I'm just glad you guys are here.
Fortunately, Discotech brought back most of the cast to dub Lupin III Part 4, the Blue Jacket series currently still airing on Toonami. Unfortunately, the dub doesn't include the Japanese music of Yuji Ono, and from what I've read, neither will the home release. I guess I'm getting the Japanese with subtitles release. Maybe if they dub Italian game, I'll get it. On the subject of manga entertainment, they didn't always farm out their voice acting. They made some dubs on their own and even did work for other licensors. The dub for New Dominion Tank Police was done using largely the same crew as the dub for the original, and while the first OVA's dub was done for US Manga Corps, the second was for a manga release. Tony Berry is still Leona, Allison Dowling is still both of the Puma twins, and Sean Barrett is still fantastically, wonderfully Lieutenant Brenton. Sean Barrett doesn't get enough credit.
Huh?
But you haven't got a cyborg head, have you, punk?
The journey of the dub for the heroic legend of Arslan, is a little trickier, as while the original 4 episodes were dubbed by Maga in jolly old England, the final 2 were dubbed in New York City.
New York City!
I gotta say, I really don't care much for either dub. The manga one sounded somewhat sophisticated, but pretty wooden, and this one is just plain wooden and stilted. I kind of like Gives VA's devil-may-care tone, at least, but everybody else seems like they're just going through the motions. It doesn't surprise me that some of these voice actors did very few other roles in their careers, if any at all. I can't imagine they were in high demand. Even the studio only ever did these episodes of Arslan.
You will leave at once, and I do not want to see you. Until you have secured 50,000 men!
I accept your imperial command.
Though there was at least one voice actor from that part of the Arslan OVA dub that was in Headline Studios' Boogiepop Phantom dub. Her name is Simone Grant, and she plays the eponymous Boogiepop Phantom, the remnant of Echoes that split from Manticore and took the form of Boogiepop to assist in defeating its evil half and preserving the special-powered children. As a whole, the dub is pretty bland and inoffensive, nothing really standing out either positively or negatively.
Will I ever remember this moment? This feeling? The time when our high school lives had come to a close? The piercing pain in my chest, as if I'd lost something special?
Another dub done by an obscure studio was Voice 1's for the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure OVA. I feel like the villains' voice actors do a lot more of the heavy lifting in this dub than those of our heroes. Endel, Darby, Vanilla Ice, and Dio sound far more animated than their heroic counterparts. It's odd that Andrew Chaikin, who played Dio, didn't voice act after this because he's pretty damn good, even having a Stephen Bloom-like quality to his voice at times.
How very unexpected of Star Platinum to come into my frozen world. You watched me from within the frozen time. Not unlike a child learning how to first ride a bicycle. He'll get the hang of it in no time.
I still prefer JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in Japanese, though, even for the TV series, though the dub is decent. The state's woolly, wintry neighbors to the north, Canada, used to dub a lot of anime for various licensors, one of them being Ocean's dub for Key the Metal Idol. It's your standard tolerable but rarely standout Ocean dub, to be frank, though I do like how hammy Brian Drummond can be as capricious super agent Tsurugi. He embodies the obsessive, moody, artistic sociopath who projects his desires onto his charge, looking to get a kind of revenge on Miho for abandoning him by taking Key under his wing very well.
Do you want to show me something that you've learned? How novel. Is it a human trick? Don't desperately start pretending to be human now. No one is interested. Just give it up, Key.
Shifting back to the US, many of the best English dubs for anime have come out of California. Next to animes, I think Bang Zoom has the best reputation. It's from them we get the English version of both seasons of Vandread. Eric Sherman, who headed up the dubs for Samurai Champloo and Haruhi, directed this one. It featured, Lupin. Tony Oliver. Also the likes of Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, Wendy Lee, Stephen Bloom, and Dorothy Elias Fawn. Kind of a star-studded cast. But it doesn't especially impress on any level. It does basically a workmanlike job and just makes the grade.
I can feel the immense power surging from way down deep inside this guy.
Wow! Amazing, 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 amazing!
This situation is beyond all reason.
What is this? I'm supposed to control all of this by myself?
Now let's move on to a more obscure ADR studio that mostly did work for manga or Geneon. Media Concepts. They didn't do a lot. Their first production was the dub of the third Patlabor movie. Circling back to the Lupin cast, this was directed by Richard Epcar. It featured the voices of Dave Wittenberg, Michael Forrest, Kari Wahlgren, and Michelle Ruff. A competent dub, especially for Patlabor, which has had dubs that are all pretty iffy at best, but nothing groundbreaking in terms of the performances themselves.
I'm sorry, but the chief wants to see me.
No, that's alright. It might be regarding the evidence we brought in.
Huh?
Did you know about the incident at Babylon Sector the day before yesterday? We're here to receive the analysis of the evidence.
Are you saying you're a police officer?
I'm a detective with Jonan Station.
Well, you sure are a public servant.
Let's finish up with some Texas dubs, boy, howdy! Industrial Smoke and Mirrors was one of ADV's key studios and produced, let's say, dubs of various quality over time, including the dub for Azumanga Daioh. I'd like to get into it more when I cover the show as a whole, so I'll just say for now that the general cast is usually pretty decent, but it's a show that's best appreciated in its native tongue.
It's the government who pays Santa. And not everyone has a chimney, so how does he get in then? Don't underestimate him. Santa's got awesome lockpicking skills. He can open anything. Okay, so how does he go to every house in the world in just one night? He's fast! He's tremendously fast, like Mach 100! Yeah, right.
On the other hand, the Funimation English dub of Darker Than Black seems every bit as good as its Japanese original. Or at least close to it. It may not be as high in quality as their dubs for Bakano or Michiko and Hatchin, but Jason Liebrecht, Kent Williams, Kate Oxley, Monica Rial, Troy Baker, and others all acquit themselves appropriately. It probably has the best dub of the anime I've covered in this half of the year.
If you join us, join me, you'll see her. I promise you. But what if the price for seeing her plunges this city into darkness and chaos? What will you do then?
I'm sick of your riddles.
Nobody move!
Nowadays, it seems that there's only a handful of anime dub studios left. Funimation, Sentai Filmworks, Bang Zoom, and maybe a couple of others. Studiopolis comes to mind. You don't get a lot of smaller groups anymore. Or even some of the old bigger ones. I guess anime dubs have become a bit more streamlined in that regard, but also less experimental. I can't decide whether that's a good or bad thing. Anyway, that's it for this year here on Otaku Evolution. I'd like to thank all of you who actually watch my videos. All 6 of you. Feel free to show your appreciation by contributing to my Patreon, or at least sharing the videos with others. I've got some plans for next year that I hope will pan out, and I'll see you, probably February. Until then, see ya! So what is all this? A class reunion? I don't suppose you managed to get a hold of Dominique, huh? Or a Hiru? I'm morally opposed to exercise. What's this about anyway, Pen Pen? What is this thing you need all of us for? To what end? You'll lose a balloon up here? Fine, fine. So, how long is this supposed to take? I'll give it an hour.
Oyum yoria ipyai. Umuar gurax kumax yarikwa axyar rayampir. Quirax kapum kiryam garmu giar gier. Ayazari umoa ayum garki seyaz gier. Yamirzu garki.